on in a few moments. But let's give everyone the team news then. First things first here on SAFC Live, of course, broadcasting around the world from the sports bar here at the Stadium of Light. And that is your side. Danny, talk us through it.
Yeah, an unchanged starting 11, isn't it, from that draw against Leeds a couple of weeks back, as you say there. You were perhaps looking at one or two coming back from the treatment room, like Dan Ballard is not quite ready, Mayender as well, top end of the pitch. But on a plus side, Aaron Connolly, been getting some game time, hasn't he, for the 21s, got himself a goal or two, and he'll be looking to get out there against his former side, won't he, to go and get a few minutes and open his account for us hopefully this afternoon. Yeah,
we're expecting an open game this afternoon, certainly based on what Hull have done so far this season. Wet surface down there as well always adds to a bit of pace in the game, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, and I think just having a look at Hull, obviously they've had a tricky start. They picked up 3 wins on the bounce, but last time out a 4-0 defeat away at Norwich, so it's been a mixed season for them so far, which obviously reflects on their league position, sat in 14th I think currently, after where they finished last year under Liam Rosenior. Missed out on the final day, didn't they, making it into the playoffs. Wasn't good enough for the chairman. Liam Rosenior left, and obviously the new man's come in trying to get them going, so it's going to take his time. You know, players have obviously come and gone as well, but yeah, it's still early days, isn't it, from their point of view. They're at home this afternoon, it's their patch, they'll obviously want to get their fans on side early on. But from our point of view, get back to winning ways. You know, good point against Leeds in the end, wasn't it? Obviously, we'll get onto the highlights in a minute. But yeah, if you can take a point here and there, and obviously getting back to winning ways, then we're going in the right direction.
And you must be looking forward to looking at the league table, because famously you don't look at it until 10 games in. You can do that this afternoon.
Today's the day, isn't it? Yeah, exactly that, yeah. But no, it is, it's good. And as you say, when you're sat at home on a Saturday, you're seeing all the results coming in. Yeah, say 1 or 2 went for us yesterday. And obviously, as I said there, Burnley, who, you know, looking at Burnley as well, sat top, and we played them here. For me, that was our best performance of the season. Yes, we only beat them 1-0, but it could have been 3 or 4, I thought we were excellent that day. And the Burnley side, who've only conceded 4 goals so far this season as well. Yeah. So they're there to be beaten. Obviously, coming down from the Premier League last season, change of manager, Scott Parker's come in. But we're right amongst it at this moment in time.
A couple of interesting results over the weekend. Sheffield United conceding their first defeat as well. That could be significant at the top end, couldn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I watched the majority of that game as well. Their point of view, as you said, went a long time without conceding, and then they conceded in the manner in which they did. That corner, wasn't it? You know, maybe you say Leeds have worked on it. Stroop coming in there, unmarked really, wasn't he? Good finish, to be fair to him. So that'll disappoint Sheffield United after
and
going so long
Leeds as well. Lots
conceding.
been made of Leeds. You know, their side is not what it was this season. They've got some big injuries as well, but they're still there and thereabouts, aren't they?
Leeds, yeah. Oh no, certainly, yeah, they'll be up there. I think they're the favourites as well, aren't they? And I think, you know, as I said, we'll get onto the highlights, but they had a good 25-30 minutes in the first half. I felt here at the Stadium like a couple of weeks ago.
Should we get them on?
Yeah, let's have a look
at the highlights from Sunderland's last game. It feels like weeks ago. Well, it does. It was.
But just going back to the game, I thought we started really well on the front foot. We moved the ball well early on, and obviously now I think Job had 2 or 3 opportunities himself in the first half. He had a sighter there. This one just Patrick plays it across to him. It's not crisp, is it, on the floor? He sort of bobbles it into him, and he's got to try and catch it flush. And you can see there, he just gets underneath it.
But the opening 10-15 minutes up until Chrissy Riggs' goal was brilliant.
We scored, and then all of a sudden we went and sat back, didn't we? It's almost get ourselves in front, and then it's almost sit off it, and then let's see what Leeds have got. And I thought, as I said, Leeds were 25-30 minutes were excellent. But yeah, we've got it in us. We've seen it so far this season. We're obviously in this position for a reason. Here's the goal now, so you can see there.
Nice move, isn't it?
Really well down the right-hand side. Patrick into the path of Trey. Trey does really well to get there. Dennis thinks he's scored. Keeper makes a good save, to be fair to him. And there's Chrissy Rigg following in for his second goal of the season at that end of the pitch. Yeah,
it's a good move, isn't it? In fact, Melia makes a pretty good save for the first attempt, doesn't he?
Well, he does, yeah. And it's sort of his character, really. I think, I heard a few Leeds fans mention it. So he pulls off a worldie or two, but then he's got a rick in his locker. And that showed in that 90 minutes, didn't it? You see there, he pulls off a great save. Needs his defenders there to bail him out, but I say Chris Rigg actually goes for the first one here, and then he's back up onto his feet, isn't he? He thinks the opportunity's gone, and then as you've seen there, and he's there, he's ready, and he's got a tap in from a couple of yards. And as we said, at this moment in the game, we deserve to be in front for the football we played.
Of course, Leeds then did come into the game. They were quite good at having possession in our final third. They didn't really do much with it, did they? You can't really recall Anthony Patterson making too many saves in their first half. Of course, they did score through Joel Pirot, which we'll see very soon, I'm sure. But Sunderland did have their chances again in that first half from Mundell. He hasn't scored for a couple of games. He's due a goal this afternoon, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's been excellent, hasn't he, since he got himself into the team after Jack left, as we said there, and he's, was it 3 goals I think he's got himself. He's a threat down that left-hand side. But yeah, just as I say, back onto the highlights there, and I thought Nonto was good for Leeds on the night, up and down that right-hand side. Then he'd come and play inside, and he was a threat, and obviously it was his ball, wasn't it? I think, is this the goal now? Let's have a look. Yeah, we're unfortunate here. You see Joe getting himself back in, tries to cut out the pass, but plays it into the path of Nonto. You can see there, he probably is a fraction offside. It's a decent ball in, though. Perot doesn't have to do much in the middle, does he? You know, I've heard a few people have said about Chrissy Mepham's positioning. For me, he's not done a lot wrong there. Luke O'Nien has got dragged out near post area. You see Luke's out there, and Chris has actually then got to look after the flat ball, but it's just that much pace on it, and it's on the spot, isn't it, really? And as I say there, Perot just has to guide it past Anthony Patterson, and he's got no chance. And then Leeds had a really good spell here. We couldn't get out. They were knocking on the door, and I thought this is going to be a long night, but credit to the boys. I thought 10 minutes before the break, we sort of rode out the storm really and come back into it towards the end of the half.
Yeah, this is some of the storm you're talking about. They just recycled the ball quite well during this period, didn't they? And managed to get in lots of decent positions, but never really did anything with it after the goal.
I don't think he helps him out with the ball here. See, he cuts it back, but he fizzes it at him, and it's not on the floor and it's not on his head. It's sort of in between, and it's a difficult one for him to try and deal with and get on target, really. But you see there now, that's what Leeds do really well. Pressure high, put you under pressure, and when you can't get out, it's difficult. But they didn't make the most of it. I think that's what would have disappointed Daniel Farke after the game, this spell in the game where they perhaps didn't put us to the sword, where they had that good 25 minutes or so and wasted a few opportunities.
Yeah, we're just looking back through some more of the highlights from Sunderland's last league game against Leeds United. If you are watching around the world, you can still get your matchday passes right now at safc.com. An opportunity there for Patrick Roberts, who's continued his good start to the season.
Yeah, no, he's been at it as well, Patrick, hasn't he, as well? You see, when you've got Romain on one side, and obviously Patrick is somewhere back to his best, really, and what we know he's about. We're going to be a handful for any side in this league, especially on the counter-attack, and when you're having to try and suck it up at times and you're under the cosh a little bit, you've got an outball then on either flank. If you get it out to Patrick or to Romain, they can get you up the pitch.
Another one of those sightings from Job.
Yeah, Job again. He's had a few, hasn't he, in that first half, and then Romain again here now. Is this the one? Now, I don't think it's a penalty, not for me, not enough in it at all. Say Nonto there, he has a little nibble, doesn't he? But see it back. No, puts his foot round him and there's not contact. I think Romain goes down looking for it, looks at the referee with a little bit of hope, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he doesn't get the decision. So, but this is the stage I felt now at the end of that first half where we did finish quite strong. And then obviously we'll get on to the second half now where Leeds come out, get themselves that early goal in the second half, and then it was all about ourselves really. Leeds pretty much done what we did after we scored in the first half, where we sat back. I felt Leeds done the exact same really, got the second goal and then sat off us, which we'll obviously get onto. You see there he's offside, isn't he, Wilson? But yeah,
it was a hard shift for Wilson on that Friday night, wasn't it? Because he didn't really see much of the ball, but he had to be. No,
it's difficult for him. Yeah, people say he was quiet, but the reason he was quiet is Leeds had a good spell of possession in the game as well, and we did struggle to get him into the game at times, and that's going to happen. But he's always on the shoulder. Wilson, I've liked his movement since he's been playing through the middle as well. He's got himself a couple of what you call strikers goals, hasn't he, with those tap-ins in the 6-yard box, really getting across his man. So yeah, I've liked what I've seen from him so far, Wilson.
Of course, Leeds did get their second goal not too long after the break. 55 minutes it was when they did score. Did you think it was coming at the time?
Well, we get on to it. Obviously, we've missed the build-up there where Romain's actually won the ball, hasn't he, on Joe Rodon, and the referees give the free kick. But listen, there's a lot still to happen after that. I think, yeah, I was going to point to my screen there, but you can see there, I think Patrick switched off on Junior Firpo. He's not tracked him initially off the run. You see on the far side of the pitch now, when the ball comes across there, just see Patrick at the top of your picture. See there, he's switched off. He's allowed him to run past him. Trey has come narrow inside the pitch. Then he can't make the challenge. He's wrong side. And then between Luke and Anthony Patterson, they're sort of almost in each other's way, really. And Firpo just passes it into that far corner. Mm-hmm. So at this point, Leeds are getting themselves in front, the top side, and you're thinking it's going to be a tough road back for us now. But here, see, he wins the ball there. It's not a free kick. The referee gets it wrong, but that's going to happen throughout the course of the season, isn't it? But credit to the boys, as I say, they've gone behind. You know, you could think, oh no, it's going to be a tough one for us now against a good Leeds side, but the boys got together. I thought we had a good sort of 25 minutes or so, albeit we didn't create too many good opportunities for all the play we had, but you're waiting for an opportunity, and obviously we'll get onto the goal in a moment or two. And
he only made 2 changes in the second half, I think. The gaffer in the end, he brought Alan Brown on, and he also brought Tommy Watson on as well late into the game. But it was Alan Brown, of course, who had a vital part to play in a deep inside the game, which we'll get on to. And there's a huge talking point, wasn't it? The goal, which we're building up to eventually. But a couple of half chances, really. You know. Did you think the game had got away from us until that last moment?
This is the big one, isn't it? That's a big opportunity to wrap the game up. I think they might have another one in a minute as well. But yeah, Aronson, wasn't it? Chops inside and almost reverses it there. Maybe go for that right-hand side corner to Anthony Patterson's left, really. But it's a big opportunity, and that really probably puts the game to bed, doesn't it, for Leeds? But we're still in there when you're at 2-1. We've seen it before. You've got to keep going, keep knocking on the door. And here it is now, isn't it? So yeah, Anthony Patterson. Long ball forward. I think it's Job, isn't it? Just gets there ahead of his man. Alan Brown, he's just trying to turn it into the box, isn't he? And it comes off Firpo's face. Changes the direction and the path of the ball. But, you know, a lot of people have talked about spin on the ball and that. I'm not so sure. I just think he's got it horribly wrong. It's a slick surface.
It's Firpo's face. And that's
he almost
gone down
runs
his
past the ball, really. So I'm not sure what he's doing there. And he just gets it wrong. But obviously, from our point of view, absolutely delighted. See, his defenders aren't too impressed there around him. But that man there is, Regis Debris, delighted, and we take a point from the game. And for me, over the course of the 90 minutes, I thought a draw was a fair result.
Yeah, big result for Sunderland. It's just a shame that we had to wait a couple of weeks to get back out into it. We are back at it this afternoon, and that's down at the MKM Stadium against Hull City. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday the 20th of October, and you can get your match day streaming passes right now at safc.com. We're broadcasting live here from the Sports Bar back at the Stadium of Light. Many of the Sunderland supporters got up early to make the trip down to East Yorkshire, but we're here and we'll be back after the break to look at the teams in a little bit more detail, including that Hull City side as well. We'll see you soon.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
Welcome back to SAFC Live. We're live from the sports bar this afternoon. It's jam-packed behind us as the Sunderland fans watch on. The lads, of course, are down at the MKM Stadium, Hull City, here on Sunday, the 20th of October. It's still time to get your matchday streaming passes around the world right now at safc.com. Pretty soon, me and Danny will be disappearing to our commentary booth. Of course, the people behind us will be enjoying the game behind us. We'll be back here for the post-game programme, though, and you can get involved in that. You can tell us anything you like. Use the hashtag AskDanny if you want to get involved in that. So let's have a look at the team news for Sunderland, first of all. Danny, you can take us through this. There's no changes in the 11. There's a slight change on the bench, though, from Sunderland's last game.
Yeah, same 11, isn't it? As we mentioned there against Leeds a couple of weeks back at the Stadium of Light. So as we were, that 4-3-3 really, obviously out of possession. Chrissy Rigg is the one that tends to go and join Wilson Isidore up the top end, almost a 4-4-2 out of possession. And Dan Neil just patrolling in front of the back four really. As you mentioned, looking at the bench as well. O'Sheesh is on there as well today. Rusin, Connolly, Tommy Watson, who's had one or two little stints off the bench.
He's been pushing as much as anyone, hasn't he?
And he keeps doing it as well for the under-21s as well. So he's got to bide his time, with Romain taking over from Jack Clark. So we've got good options on that left-hand side with obviously the right footer who wants to cut inside. But yeah, just got to keep on doing it and get his opportunity and take it when it comes. Let's
have a look at Hull City for the first time this afternoon. They've got such a high turnover, haven't they, of players, Danny? I think, over the last couple of seasons, like you said earlier on, they really went for it, didn't they, in the last season, just falling short, of course, as well, under Racina. He moved on, and now they have Tim Volter, who likes to play attacking football. There's a few new names in there as well for them.
Yeah, and they've made 4 changes today, as you say there. Last time out against Norwich, 4-0 defeat, wasn't it, at Carrow Road, so he's brought the changes in. He's probably tried to work on one or two things with the players who weren't on international duty. Obviously, Mason Burstow on the bench as well, a familiar face for the Sunderland fans. Casey Palmer. So they've got talent to Liam Miller, who was excellent against us last season for Preston. But the likes of the lap last year, Carvalho, they had a real go at it, didn't they? Hull, but come up short, as we said, and cost Liam Racina his job at the end of the day. I think the chairman come out and said it was the style of play which he wasn't happy with. But it came down to 90 minutes of football where they come up short. So they weren't a million miles away last season. And as you mentioned there, Frankie, new managers come in, take him a bit of time, brought 1 or 2 fresh faces into the squad as well. And he's trying to get them going in the right direction. So they need to try and bounce back on home soil against ourselves this afternoon.
They actually were away during international break. They had a friendly in Turkey. Their owner is Turkish, of course, as well. And it's one of those mid-season friendlies. Did you do any of those in your career, mid-season?
No, not with internationals. I tend to be away with Wales, wouldn't I? So yeah, I'll be getting my break there, really. But no, it's difficult because, as you say, ourselves, for instance, we've got several players who go away on international duty, and then you're left with a cluster of sort of 10 players maybe, and you've got to try and keep them ticking over, manage the sessions, give them a few days off as well. Trying to get the balance right, really, and then obviously building up this week, trying to get it back, get your minds on it. Right, lads, it's ready, time to go again. Back to the league, and let's get going. Let's get back top of the table.
Yeah, lots made of that, especially the younger players. When you come to an international break, you suspect they will get a rest, but many of our young players are internationals, aren't they?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is it? Chrissy Rigg, Job, they're all away, and it's a good thing for the club in a way. They're getting recognition for their performances. Obviously, Chrissy, I think, won goal of the month as well, didn't he? For his back heel against Middlesbrough. But yeah, that's what you want. If you're a side in the Championship pushing for worst case playoffs, then you've got to have top talent in the squad, and we've got some good talent in this squad, young lads who are looking to kick on as well, and they're getting international recognition as well at the same time. So you hope they get through it, come back unscathed from injury. I heard Chris Rigg had gone to a hospital. I don't know how true that was, but he's out there this afternoon.
He's fine, by all accounts. It was one of those internet lies, I think, Danny.
But yeah, no, it's good there. You get time away, and then you get back to the so-called bread and butter, aren't you? It's the league, 46 gruelling games in the Championship.
And this week as well, 3 games in a week again.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, for the lads who have been around it, they've had a few lighter sessions. They'll get a few tougher sessions as well, where the fitness guys put them through it as well at the training ground. Then, as I say, you get 2-3 days off maybe, then you're back to it. Then you're back together as a squad. And as you say, thick and fast, 3-game week, let's go again.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at the Sunderland camp then over the international break, and of course it's their 10th league game. It's probably doing above expected, aren't we, to be honest?
Yeah, I suppose, especially after last season, how it went after Christmas. Well, just before Christmas, really, where we were sort of playoffs, weren't we, around early December, finished 16th or 17th. So the old wheels come off, as they say, didn't they? But credit to the boys, you know, we've still got the majority of the squad here. Yes, Jack Clark's moved on, but we got young squad, youngest in the league. Alan Brown's come in, a little bit of experience in and around it as well. Aaron Connolly as well, now 24, so he's still got good years ahead of him. So we've got a good balance as well in there, really, in the changing rooms, and you're going to need it throughout the season.
Yeah, especially looking at this week as well. Luton Town away on Wednesday. I know they haven't had the best start of the season, but that'll be a big game as well, won't it?
Yeah, tough, yeah. I mean, it's a tough ground to go to, Kenilworth Road. It feels really tight and compact, as we see in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago.
Of course,
come up short there, difficult night for us. Didn't allow us to play our football, pressed us really well and stopped us playing. And as you said there, it's been a tough start for them. I don't think anybody expected them to have the start they have, but there's still plenty of time for them to bounce back, and all it takes is getting a little bit of a run, confidence back in their squad, and I'd expect them to kick on, certainly after Christmas, and be up there in the top half, worst case.
Let's have a look at the Sunderland team once again for people just joining us around the world. He doesn't like to tinker the team too much, does he, Regis?
Well, I'd say why would you really when they're doing well? As I say, prime example, you look at Hull, 14th in the table, just been beat 4-0 last game. He's had a couple of weeks to reflect on it, have a look at one or two things. Possibly he may tweak his shape a little bit this afternoon. But yeah, when things are going well, you don't need to change it too much if there's no suspensions or obviously anyone picks up a knock. Then if everybody says they're fit and they're all putting in decent performances, then why change it? But you've got good options off the bench. You know, you mentioned Alan Brown. He'll be itching to get in there. I think you go back to Portsmouth where he came back in, got himself a goal, part of a side that won, and then he come back out of the side. So he'll be disappointed. He'll be wanting to be out there, be a part of it. He played his part obviously against Leeds in the second goal, but he won't want to be sat on the bench too often. The likes of Aaron Connolly coming here as well. You know, he go back a few seasons ago, come into it for Brighton in the Premier League, got off to a great start. Hull last season, I think he got 8 goals. He's obviously had 1 or 2 issues off the pitch, which he addressed.
Well, let's speak about that because he was quite honest with an interview we did, which you can see now as well on the club's YouTube channel, when he said he's had some issues and he's addressed them, and he thinks he's focused now, and I understand the club are supporting him there as well. It was a very honest and brave interview, wasn't it, to do on World Mental Health Day?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And listen, he's not the only player, is he? You know, you get a lot of time off the pitch. I've played with players in my career who, when you've got downtime, find it difficult just to switch off and relax. But credit to him, he's come out and spoke there. I think now he'll say himself, there's certainly a player in there, and I think he's got a good opportunity now at a good club in the Championship who are pushing to get promoted. So yeah, if he can get his head right, focus. He's got off to a good start. You know, he's been here a couple of weeks, but he's got himself 3 goals. I think he got a couple at Huddersfield as well.
Yeah,
didn't he?
did, yeah.
But he'll want to get out in that first team now. Push the likes of Isidore, Mayenda when he's back. So we've got good options, because over the last 18 months, 2 years, we've sat here too often, and the fans around us as well have said we haven't got too many options at the top end of the pitch. Well, I look at us now. I like the look of Isidore. We know Aaron Connolly, if you can get him sharp and going at this level, he'll get goals. And Mayenda was growing into it as well, and he looks like he'll kick on and it's going to be a threat at this level as well.
Yeah, and he's obviously got good pedigree, Connolly, if you can get his mentality right at the club as well. But Sunderland's kind of emerged as a club where a player can resurrect their careers, can't they, at a club like Sunderland? And it obviously goes in the other direction as well, where they don't want to stand in the way of someone's ambitions. Look at Jack Clark moving on, but look at someone like Patrick Roberts maybe coming in, you know, finding a home and finally feeling like he belongs somewhere. Yeah,
but when you said that, they're the two that jumped straight into my mind as well. I think, Jack, prime example, got his move to Spurs. I'd say it didn't work out. He didn't get too many opportunities, but then he went around a few clubs trying to get some regular football. And then obviously come here, found himself at home, and it's exactly the same with Patrick. You know, they'll burst onto the scene on Man City, Celtic had a good time up there, went round a few clubs, Norwich, Middlesbrough, Fulham, 1 or 2 others, wasn't quite working out, come up here, he's got himself regular football now. So they feel part of it, they feel wanted, and it'll be the same with Aaron, I'm sure. Now, obviously, he had a spell at Hull last year. As I said, he got 8 goals last year. I think we got 3 between 4 centre-forwards.
Yeah.
So we'd have taken that last year, wouldn't we? But yeah, if he can get himself, as I say, match sharp, switched on mentally, focused on his football, then he's a great asset for the club.
Exciting. Okay, then one more quick look at the starting 11 for Sunderland. If you are just joining us around the world, remember you can get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com. It is unchanged starting 11 from Regis Lebris. There is one change on the bench though. Adil Aushish comes in for Abdullah Bar. Those two are kind of competing for that shirt at the moment on the bench, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they're all, well, I think if you're on the outside looking at it, it almost looks like they've been out of favour, doesn't it? Because, you know, the team sheet doesn't lie at times and they've not been in and around it. As you say, Bar was involved in the last one. Now Oshish is coming into it, so difficult for them, you know, because they've been in and around the squads for the last couple of years and getting game time hasn't quite worked out. They've come out of the team. And, you know, you look at lads on that bench, when a team sheet goes in, you want to be out there in that starting 11. Now, if you're not getting game time, if you're playing for the 21s or whatever it may be in training, you've got to try and impress the manager, have the right attitude, go about it day to day, try and impress him, and then when the opportunity comes along, if, for instance, Job or Chrissy Rigg, hopefully they don't, pick up a knock, Oshish comes in, he's got to take his opportunity. Abdullah Bar, the same, they've had a few opportunities now. They might have a good game, then they don't, they're not quite at it, they come out of the team, so they'll be as frustrated, you know, as perhaps the manager and the staff, that they can't rely on getting regular first team football.
Yeah. Okay, that's the Sunderland 11 and bench. We'll look at it in a little bit more detail as we move into our commentary positions, which we're going to head to in a moment. We're broadcasting live here from the sports bar, the Quinn Sports Bar within the Stadium of Light this afternoon. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. And myself and Danny will take you through the action from the MKM Stadium from our commentary position just out of the room here at the Stadium of Light. It's still time if you want to buy your matchday streaming passes around the world. We've already had people getting in touch and say they're watching in places like Essen in Germany and of course the Far East as well, which they often do. And you can have your say in the post-game program. Myself and Danny will be back here to do the post-game program. Use the hashtag AskDanny and talk about anything from the game or anything Sunderland related for that matter as well. We'll be back very soon with full commentary here on SAFC Live. Welcome back to SAFC Live. Myself and Danny are broadcasting around the world, of course, here on SAFC Live. To Sunderland fans, wherever you may be, and you might want to get in touch with the programme this afternoon. It's quite a strange kick-off time of 3 p.m. on a Sunday. I don't think many people appreciate this time on a Sunday, not least the supporters who've had to dedicate a full day to it. Well, quite often on a Sunday, Danny, it's the early kick-off, isn't it?
Yeah, in the Championship. Yeah, I don't mind that one as much as, say, the sort of 12:30 one, isn't it, really? But it is bizarre, 3 o'clock, and obviously a couple of Premier League games going on as well. But we are where we are. Job to be done for the lads going down there. Yeah. Ideal conditions, that, for football.
What you like is a bit
yeah,
wet,
no, I enjoyed that, yeah. Overcast, as you say there, slick surface, bit of rain coming down. I'm sure the lads, well, say hopefully the lads can get the ball down and pop it around like we did in that first 10 minutes against Leeds. Going back to it, I thought we were excellent. Then we sort of took our foot off, didn't we, and allowed Leeds back into the game. And no, it was a good game that night, though. I thought it was a good game. As I say, we came back into it and probably deserved the point in the end for me. But yeah, back to winning ways this afternoon. Opportunities, say, sat a couple of points now behind Burnley. Got the job done yesterday, 2-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. But yeah, back to ourselves.
Yes, indeed. It's quite sparse. I mean, we are 10 minutes away till kick-off. You might probably play it down there a few times. Was it called the MKM in those days?
The KC, I think it was. Yeah.
KC Stadium, of course.
Yeah.
This is where they play the rugby league games as well.
Yeah. So you want to catch it early on. Sometimes the pitches, to be fair, I mean, all the machinery and stuff they've got these days can get pitches in decent condition, but usually with the rugby you have the lines across them, don't you, and they get worn a bit through the wet winters, but it looks immaculate, doesn't it? Looking at the screen so far there, and as I say, most pitches are these days, certainly Championship, Premier League.
Yeah, Sunderland have already been in action this afternoon, and happy to report it was a derby win this weekend against Durham. Our women coming through 2-1 victors in a big game in the Women's Championship this afternoon. So congratulations to Mel and her side. But of course, all eyes are on the MKM Stadium. It's Hull City versus Sunderland. The 51st meeting between these two sides. Sunderland have won 23 of those, lost 15. There's been 12 draws in there as well. Of course, it was normally Rob Mason who tells us this kind of thing, but he's on his holidays and he's watching from abroad, I understand. So hello to you, Rob, if you're watching.
He's not committed, is he? Mid-season, and he's away on his sun lounger. No.
There is a Premier League game going down at the moment as well. Wolves were leading, but thanks to Guardiola, they are 1-1 now against Manchester City. And a big game for Wolves and Gary O'Neill, who seems to be struggling at the moment, but it's tough down the bottom of the Premier League, isn't it? As we saw
good
match of the day last night.
Yeah, former teammate of mine was at West Ham, Gaz, good lad. Had a good season last year, didn't he? Obviously done well, a lot of plaudits, and he's found it difficult to start this season.
Wolves have lost a couple of big players.
Some players go in that, but no, I think when I've watched Wolves, I think they play some good football, but ultimately it comes down to getting results, doesn't it? So hopefully he can get them going and get them up the right end of the